This is Michael Hildreth, the Marriage Ranger, and I want to welcome you to this video on empathy, which is PUG, Presence, Understanding, and Empathy Guesses. I'm so glad that you're here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can catch all the content that we put out in the coming weeks and months. All right, let's talk about empathy. It has three parts, right? The first is presence, which is consciously being there physically, mentally, emotionally, or even spiritually. When we have presence, we are literally present with the individual and what they're going through. That is essential to having empathy. It's really the bare bones of the matter. Next, we have understanding, reflective listening, or stating back to the person what is being heard to assure them that they are receiving it. Sometimes people call that paraphrasing, and in fact, Rosenberg in his book Nonviolent Communication states that it is exactly that. To paraphrase is to have understanding, or to show that you have understanding towards the individual. Not agreeing or disagreeing, not saying what someone wants to hear just to get along. That's not what we're doing when we have understanding. We are paraphrasing so that they know they're being heard. And then finally, empathy guesses, asking questions about the feeling that's alive in the other person. This doesn't mean that we necessarily know what the answer is. That's why it's called an empathy guess. Here's an example. They might say, I can't believe that my boss lied to me. Now I have to work overtime, even though I specifically asked for the day off. You could say, are you feeling upset right now because you need time for rest and relaxation after a long work week? And then they might say something like, no, I don't need the rest. That's not what this is about. And then it may seem like they're actually getting more upset, but you could turn around and say, so you're feeling disappointed because you have a need for honesty from your boss, and that's not what you're getting. And so on and so forth until you finally reach the goal, you finally get to the need that's missing. And then you can address that unmet need and at least have understanding about what's going on so that the person who is feeling these tensions or this stress can experience some kind of relief. We have to watch for empathy interruptions as well. Some examples would be advice. Well, I think you should do this, or maybe you should try that. Those are interruptions that actually distract from empathy. One other kind of interruption would be storytelling, going into some kind of experience that we might have had. Then again, we're not empathizing because in storytelling, we're making it about ourselves. Nobody wants to hear that. Asking lots of questions or inquiring can distract from empathy. Correcting mistakes or what we perceive to be mistakes will distract from empathy. Shutting down, telling people that they don't know what they're talking about, or confronting them, adding fuel to the fire, agreeing with the other person, even if you might think the other person is morally right in what they were saying. Still, the person that you're speaking with does not need to hear that if you're trying to supply empathy. Now, I'm not saying that any of these things are bad or wrong things to do. That's not what I mean when I'm talking about this. I'm simply telling you that if you want to have empathy in order to engender warm feelings, you have to avoid these pitfalls, and they are common pitfalls. As you practice empathy in the coming weeks, months, and years, you're going to notice that you want to go back to the storytelling. You want to go back to the advice giving or the sympathizing. And by the way, sympathizing, that is the biggest pitfall of all, and I'll tell you why. Oftentimes we don't discern the difference between sympathy and empathy, but there is in fact a very big difference. Sympathy is feeling our own feelings of our own for someone else's instead of someone else's feelings. And empathy is experiencing their feelings with them. Empathy is keeping it about them and not about yourself.